Hello children, today we will discuss chapter 5 water from geography. Okay, so if we discuss the objective of this chapter is to know about the distribution of water on earth. Okay, as you all know that water is one of the most important resources and life on earth is not possible without it. है ना? And water cycle is the continuous movement of water on above and below the surface of the earth. Okay, so some of the major sources of fresh waters are glaciers, rivers, springs, ponds, and lakes. है ना? And 97% of the water on earth is salty and 3% is fresh. Okay, so ocean water moves continuously, unlike the stagnant water of ponds or water, and this is known as oceanic circulation. So, this everything we will discuss in our chapter. Okay, so water on the ground evaporates due to the heat of the sun, and the resulting water vapor moves up, and when it is sufficiently high up it cools and condenses into clouds, and then these clouds precipitate into rain, snow, etc., and come down the earth. And this continual movement of the same water, it is called water cycle. Okay, now if distribution of water and major bodies of water, if we see, more than 97% of the water is in the oceans, and 2% is locked in ice caps and glaciers, and less than 1% is in rivers, lakes, ponds, wells, etc. Okay, and ocean water is saline, it contains salt, and it cannot be used for drinking. Okay, so less than 1% of the water on the earth is freely available fresh water, and it must be used very carefully, that is without wasting. Okay, now circulation, that is circulations in ocean. Okay, if we check, that is ocean circulation. Okay, ocean water is always moving, and the different types of movement in oceans are waves, है ना, tides, currents. Okay, so waves, if we see waves, a wave, what is it? It is an area of moving water that is raised above the main surface. When winds blow at high speed, waves can become huge and destroy life and property also. है ना? This could also be because of volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, or underwater landslide. Okay, then tsunami. It is also a series of waves that can be more than 100 feet high. Tsunami. Okay, then tides. So tides means tides are formed by rising and falling of the sea due to attraction of the moon and sun. Okay, so when water covers much of the shore, it is known as high tide, and when water falls to its lowest level and recedes from the shore, it is known as low tide. Okay, then on full moon and new moon days, what happened on full moon and new moon days? The sun, the moon, and the earth, okay, are in the same line, and the water on earth gets pulled on the sides. So the tides are highest on those days, and they are known as spring tides. Okay, then when are the moon and the sun forms a right angle, that is 90-degree, ocean waters get pulled diagonally when the moon and the sun forms 90-degree. So these are known as neap tides. Okay, these are known as neap tides. Then currents, if we discuss currents. Okay, a current is is like a huge river, okay, within an ocean, flowing from one place to another. And currents are caused by differences in temperature and salinity, okay, and by winds also. So they are responsible for a vast amount of movement of the water found in the earth's ocean. Okay, then warm ocean currents and cold ocean currents, if we check. Okay, so warm ocean currents, that is the Gulf Stream. Okay, originate near the equator, and it moves towards the poles. And cold ocean current, that is the Labrador current. Okay, cold ocean currents carry water from the polar region, okay, from the polar region towards the equator. Okay, this is about the currents. So I hope till here it is clear, bachas, isn't it? So water is a superb solvent, and many substances like mineral can dissolve quickly and easily into it. Okay, and the difference between a high tide and a low tide is called a tidal range. Clear? Always keep it in mind, these things. Okay, then about 80% of tsunamis happen within the Pacific Ocean rings of fire. Okay, then Earth is a closed system similar to a terrarium, that is meaning then it rarely loses or gains extra water. So the same water that was on the earth millions of years ago is still present today. Okay, so much more fresh water is stored under the ground than on the earth's surface. So the total amount of water on the earth is about 326 million cubic miles of water. Okay, and 6650 kilometers, that is 4132 miles long. Okay, the Nile is the longest river in the world, and the second longest is the Amazon. It is 6400 kilometers, that is 4000 miles. Okay, and the first reasonable theory of how wind affects surface current was derived in 1890 by the Swedish oceanographer and mathematician, that is Walfrid Ekman. Okay, so there are two main kinds of ocean currents, those driven by winds and the earth rotation, and they affect the water on the surface, and those driven by density related forces. Okay, so they affected the deeper water, and some ocean currents are surface current while other currents are much deeper, that is flowing hundreds of feet below the surface of water. Okay, so the surface current are usually caused by winds, and as the wind changes, the currents may change as well. Okay, so currents are also influenced by the rotation of the earth, and it is called the Coriolis effect. Okay, so this causes current to flow clockwise in the northern hemisphere and anti-clockwise in the southern hemisphere. So I hope it is clear, everyone. Yes. So once again, go through the chapter, bachas. Okay, read the chapter properly, and you will be getting the notes. Okay, thank you so much. God bless you all.